Sometimes all it takes is the smallest adjustment, the smallest change for the biggest result. And to find that begins with the question. Let's talk.
You put me here on this platform to tell the truth. You speak to me when I be speaking to the youth.
Yo, welcome to the Question Mindsets podcast. I'm your host, Oliver J. Darcisse. This is new, man. This is a new experience. This is a new chapter, if I'm being honest with you all. I'm super blessed to have the opportunity to open up this floor, this platform, this community, this environment, whatever you want to call it, to you guys to have these conversations. And pretty much what these conversations are about is it's all in the makeup of building a six-figure mindset. I say six figures, but it's really a multi-figure mindset, just to build the foundation for success, and not all that starts with the mind. So why I really made this podcast is because I realized that since birth, we are all born with gaps in the major aspects of our life. And when I say major aspects, I'm talking about health, wealth, social life, spirituality, purpose, things of that nature. And to have a quality life, all that is determined on the answers you have. The answers you have is correlated to the questions or the quality questions that you ask. If you ask basic questions, you get basic answers. You live a basic life. You settle for a 9 to 5. Not saying those things are bad, but you just settle for that and nothing more. And this is just setting you guys up, or just having a platform all around quality questions and quality answers, building that foundation, building that six-figure mindset, and just taking each other to the next level. Now, I just want to let you guys know a little bit about me. I know this is the first episode. The reason why I decided to, come together or do this is because, growing up, I was insecure. I know that's like, cliche or whatever you want to call it. But I was insecure, and I was reprimanded just for simply asking a question in my life. And that caused me to have like a massive stutter. It was to the point where I didn't want to speak unless I knew you, I trusted you. I grew up with a certain mindset, or I was wired a certain way because of that. And I hate for somebody else to feel that way. And I want to create a platform for somebody who's going through the same situation, same mindset, same experiences. And not just that, just create an environment centered around a question, because a question is so important, because it unlocks it unlocks the path for your success, point blank. So today is pretty much just going over the importance of a question and how it can unlock your success, how it can unlock the path to your success. Start filling in those gaps. So, and I know many of us had a basic level or some type of basic education to some degree, for the majority. Now, I just want to get into like the root definition of what a question is. So a question is a sentence worded or expressed to evoke or draw out information or knowledge. Now, on that note, I want to give special thanks to my spiritual father, Prophet Dr. Kirvin Dudene at the Worldwide Kingdom Ministry. He's a man that gave me so much knowledge and was one of the pivotal persons in my life to build me up to the point where I can be able to do things like this, open up an environment and community for you guys. So I want to give a special shout out to that man. Now, as we just said, a question is a sentence worded or expressed to evoke or draw out information or knowledge. Now, quick thing I just want to drop on knowledge. I want us to understand the importance of knowledge and what knowledge really is, because people think knowledge or associate knowledge with wisdom, when those things are two different things. You don't have wisdom unless you acquire knowledge first. And knowledge is basically somebody giving you information from the experience they've had in life on a moral standpoint. And they give it to you, you receive that knowledge, and you take it and apply it in your own life and turn it into your own wisdom, because no one person can have the same type of wisdom because they had different experiences, but they can share knowledge, share information, and then that's when each one person has their own type of wisdom to be able to share. Now, the mindset shift that I want you guys to have before I get into the importance of asking questions and why we should ask questions is this. It's a word. It's called pluralistic ignorance. Now, pluralistic ignorance is a psychological state characterized by the belief that one's private thoughts are different from those of others. Now, I was reading an article online, and it was about a professor that was teaching a class of 150 awesome students. Now, he was reading a statement or an expression or a term to the class, and it sounded like something. It was scientifically worded, like it was worded a certain way where it sounded important, but it was complete nonsense. It was something that held the same weight of, hey, this is why, this is important because it equals the Pythagorean theorem, and the Pythagorean theorem equals the square root of pi, and this is why I gotta walk my fish. Like it held that same weight, but how it was worded, it sounded like something to the class, because the class was a psychology class. So how it was worded, everyone was like, okay, yeah, this is something. Yeah, this is something. I don't know what it is, but this is something. And he was actually recording the students there. He was actually recording their faces. And as you can see each student glance at one another. And when one student was looking at another, that student was looking at the teacher, nodding as if they were following, when nobody in the class understood what was going on or what was even said. And that whole example is pluralistic ignorance, because you don't understand something. You're not following, but because the majority is following or the majority is in line, you don't want to, get out of that. You don't want to separate yourself from that. You don't want to be weird in that sense. And that's pluralistic ignorance. You don't want to learn more because you seem the majority is following, when in a nutshell, nobody in the class was even understanding what was going on, because it was worded for them not to understand at all. And that's the mindset shift that I want you guys to have. I want you guys to not care if you don't know, not care if you sound stupid, not care what the majority is, what the majority or anything to do with the majority. You just focus on yourself. You need to focus on, wanting it and acquiring that knowledge to reach that next step in your life. Because if you don't know how to get over this, you won't be able to master anything. Because the moment you're in a room or in a setting like that or similar, you're going to confine yourself and restrict yourself from receiving information when you're supposed to be receiving it at that time. So, long story short, once you overcome this, once you overcome all these things, like, questions are so important. I don't want to get into like the basic Google statements. Hey, a question broadens your mind, strengthens the learning process. At the end of the day, what questions are, is they're a key. Now, think of it like this. You ask one question, and it opens a door down a path that you didn't even expect yourself to take, because it caused a chain reaction of other things. For example, shout out to my man Gene Desir, because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for a question that I asked him when I came back from college. So I came back from college. I was talking to my man Gene. We were just catching up, and he was just telling me on how you made like 10 bands from a wholesale deal, $10,000 from a wholesale deal, and I was looking at him like in the midst of that, I was trying to find myself. I was working 2 jobs. I was working nonstop, sleeping in my car, waiting to start another job because I just left another job overnight. Like, I was just grinding. And he told me that. He was like, yo, can you make real money from this? Because I was like, yo, that's a lot of money in that short time span that he got it. And he told me, he was like, yeah, if you apply yourself. Now, I asked one question, hey, how did you get that? But I asked another question because what he said drew my attention, and I was so adamant on like wanting to know more because I felt like, yo, there's something about this that sounds like, hey, this is gonna take me to the next level. And another thing that I wanted to ask you guys or another mindset shift that I want you guys to have when it comes to asking questions is pluralistic ignorance that we just talked about, and listening generously. What I did in that moment without realizing, I was listening generously. Now, what listening generously is you're listening with the utmost curiosity to want to know more, to want to get a better understanding of something. And listening generously means you ask one question, you listen, and you're dissecting each word, and you're forming a question to dive you deeper in a certain topic. Now he said because he told me, hey, if you apply yourself. Now I took a step back. I saw I was like really working hard. I was really grinding 2 jobs, valet, 5-star restaurant, bomb. I was doing all of that. I was making money, yeah, but I was like, yo, is this like the best use of my time? Is this like really all that I can do to really apply myself to make money when he just told me he made $10,000 in a span of 2 weeks or so? I was like, nah. Then I went down the whole journey on like asking deeper questions. How can I really apply myself? How can I really apply myself to the things in life, like whether it's health, wealth, social life, spirituality? And I saw myself changing and getting into a new state of mind, which is, where I stand now. And I'm grateful for that question and just, the fact that I listened generously because, if I didn't, God knows where I would have been now. God knows where that would have led me. And that's why I want you guys to have that mindset shift, to listen generously and to delete pluralistic ignorance out of your mind. Because if you don't, you won't have access to that key, because anybody can ask a question, but you need to want it. You need to listen generously. You need to not care about those around you and go and seek that information for yourself, whatever that is, and whatever subject you're interested in, and you just need to go get it. You need to want it. And this group, this community that is building up before you, that is being born before you guys hearing this and seeing this on my talk show on YouTube, like this community is going to be filled with people centered around this mindset, centered around whether they're years ahead in their growth, they're just starting to want to apply themselves in the right way or start their journey in growth. This community is going to be filled with people with that same type of mindset. And I just want you guys to hold that in your heart. Take that in, like hold deleting pluralistic ignorance in your heart. Hold listening generously within your heart so you can have access to that key through questions to unlocking this success in your life, to unlocking that next level, to unlocking the things that you're supposed to have in your life. Because if you don't, you're just settling for less. I'm your host, Olivier J. Darcisse, helping you do to do life well. What are you going to do with that? Peace.